about on your own, right? We shall be getting into the nitty-gritties of that even as we proceed with this particular broadcast. So start engaging us on our socials at EBN TV Kenya. Our streams are up on Facebook, YouTube, and you can as well send us your feedback through our SMS line. That is 23059, all right? Now, Morning Life starts now, and former Deputy President and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua has warned against plans to disrupt his planned tour of Emurua Dikirr constituency on Friday. Gachagua has accused Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen of allegedly being behind the plans, saying he will not be intimidated into cancelling the visit. He says the tour is aimed at rallying support for DCP in the South Rift. And that's now Rosmbula files the story.
DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua has vowed to proceed with his planned visit to Emurua Dikirr despite alleged attempts to disrupt the tour. Speaking ahead of the visit, Gachagua accused Internal Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen of allegedly using government officials to prevent him from accessing the area.
Mimi kesho naenda huko pahali inaitwa Emurua Dikirr kutembelea wakipsigis wa college. Wameniita huko, wameangaishwa na Kasongo. Wameniambia Rigiji ukuja utusugumuzie. Huyu waziri anaitwa Kipchumba Murkomen anapea pesa mjumbe ya huko ati Rigiji asikanyange huko. Wakanaji wamenipigia simu, wamesema kuja tutakulinda.
He also criticized Inspector General of Police Douglas Kancha, accusing him of failing to provide adequate security for his visit, despite being informed of the alleged threats.
Inspector General of Police, wewe Douglas Kancha, umetumika vibaya na Kasongo. Tangu kuwa IG, Kenya imekuwa nchi ya mihuni. Huwezi jua tofauti ya goons na polisi. Nimekuandikia barua leo IG Kancha. Nikakwambia nitakuja Emurua Dikirr. Nikakwambia Murkomen anapanga fujo. Wewe kaja, kazi yako ni weke askari ya kutosha ya kuweka amani.
Gachagua said that he expects the police to provide sufficient security for him, other leaders and residents attending the meeting.
Mimi ni kuja na viongozi na watu ya Emurua Dikirr, utupatie ulinzi ya kutosha, tuongee na wananchi kwa sababu Kenya ni nchi ya demokrasia.
He also maintained that Kenya is a democratic country and that the constitution allows leaders to travel and engage with citizens in any part of the country.
Na katiba ya Kenya inakubalia mimi na viongozi kutembea kila pahali katika Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Rosmbula, EBN TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Rosmbula, for that particular report. Still on matters politics, People's Party leader Ndindi Nyoro says his party is steadily gaining supporters and popularity across the country. Speaking after receiving 30 delegates from various political parties at the party headquarters in Nairobi, the Kenya Member of Parliament insisted that the party is not a government project or a political puppet. Nyoro continued to criticize President William Ruto's administration and the police of alleged cases of political violence witnessed in the country. He also backed calls by opposition leaders for the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC, to investigate President William Ruto over the alleged incidences.
Kwa sababu vile tumekuja, ni vizuri wameona ya kwamba tukikuwa wengi ndio mzuri zaidi. So I want to commend all the parties. We have seen very kind comments from all of them. We have seen welcoming remarks from the leader of the Jubilee Party, Dr. Matiang'i. We have seen from Honorable Governor Munya, kwa sababu we feel that we belong and we feel that we are one team. And I want to commend them for that kind of unity. And as I said yesterday, we have one goal. Na goal yetu moja ni sisi wote lazima tushikane mkono na tutoe candidate mmoja next year. Na mwenye watawania na yeye akiwa running mate one next year.
Now, the National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah has dismissed calls by opposition leaders for the International Criminal Court (ICC) to investigate cases, the alleged cases of political violence in Kenya. Speaking during a development tour in his constituency, Kikuyu constituency, Ichung'wah accused opposition leaders of hypocrisy, saying they should also take responsibility for violence linked to their political activities. Ichung'wah said the government is not intimidated by calls to involve the ICC and challenged the court to investigate cases of violence if there is sufficient evidence. He also called on the political tolerance, saying leaders should focus on selling their policies and allow politicians to freely choose and promote their preferred political parties.
Jambo lilinishangaza, Martha Karua anasoma statement ameandikiwa, mwenye amesimama nyuma yake ni James Orengo. James Orengo ndiye anabeba wahuni, wamebeba mapanga vile mliona Homa Bay. So let us also not be hypocrites. I want to join them in welcoming ICC to come and investigate that matter of goonism. Because you are planning goonism, then you point fingers at others. Wewe kama uko na chama chako, sukuma chama chako na uuze sera za chama chako. Na uachana chama cha mwenzako na yeye auze sera za. Lakini Kenya ni nchi huru ya kila mtu kuwa na uhuru wa kujichagulia chaguo lake la kisiasa.
Ni wakati wa mtu kulinda ngome yake, na sisi tunataka kulinda ngome yetu. Hata mheshimiwa Ruku ni haki yake walinde ngoma yao. Hatuna shida.
Right now, let's talk matters education, and the National Treasury has assured retirees and public servants that their pension and retirement benefits are safe. Cabinet Secretary for the National Assembly, the National Treasury, John Badi, said the government is implementing strict policies and system reforms to protect pension savings and ensure timely payments. Badi also defended the National Infrastructure Fund, saying it will benefit Kenyans by helping finance major development projects across the country. He made the remarks while appearing before the Departmental Committee on the Finance and National Planning.
Of private capital out there, both here in Kenya and out there. Chairman, you'll agree with me that even our pension funds are having increased liquidity because of some of the policy decisions that the government has taken. Insurance companies, I've just submitted a paper to Parliament again on insurance to revamp a policy on insurance, to revamp our insurance sector from the 2.3% in penetration to at least the world average of about 6.5, 6.7%. If that is realized, we are going to have an insurance sector that is very liquid. They need where to invest and with good returns and where their investment is protected. And so, and a foreign investment into the country. And Kenya, by the way, is a very attractive economy in this space and in this region. Contrary to perception by some people, or some people who want the world to believe that Kenya is not very attractive. We are attracting foreign investment in a way that you can never imagine.
Now, former NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion says his history of advocating for teachers' interests will not be a hindrance if he is approved to join the Teachers Service Commission, that is the TSC. Appearing before the Parliamentary Education Committee, Sossion said he would respect the Commission's policies and decisions while working closely with all stakeholders. He had said that his main goal will be to strengthen the Commission and ensure policies that benefit teachers are effectively implemented. Sossion also assured the committee that he will work within the law and government policies and will not seek to disrupt the operations of the Commission.
You are on the negotiating table for the teachers. On this side, you'll be on the negotiating table from the past side, from government. The issue we are asking, and which you need to come out very clearly, won't you be an insider of the unionists when you are supposed to be helping TSC and government to negotiate?
From the other side, I was advocating. Yes. At the employer side, it is implementing. So I will seek to continue implementing the policies that are agreed within the Commission that benefits the teachers of Kenya. Nothing much changes. I am not going to be a disruptor within. You know, when you are the policy implementer, yes, I will defend the Commission and I will do that which is necessary in terms of promoting constructive engagements with the social partners. So I think, as I've stated earlier on, I will commit myself to ensure that the Commission is administered within the policies and within the decisions.
Right, moving on to the corridors of justice, the High Court in Machakos has given the director of the DCI's anti-abduction unit 7 days to complete investigations into the alleged abductions of businessman Jimmy Mutava in Mulolongo, Machakos County. Justice Noel Inzani said the anti-abduction unit had not presented sufficient evidence to confirm whether Mutava is in police custody. The court directed the unit to establish his whereabouts in the interest of justice and present the findings. The case will be mentioned on August 26 of 2026 to confirm compliance and issue further directions.
Information regarding the matter herein is at liberty to present the same to the investigators herein. The IG of police may be summoned to attend court upon presentation to court and consideration of the intended investigation report.
The victim was said to be having some drinks in the Mulolongo police station OCS Chief Inspector Peter Gamli, who in his statement claims that the victim wanted him to help solve a case.
Now, the Vision 2060 Steering Committee has held consultations with key stakeholders as Kenya begins planning for the country's future beyond Vision 2030. Now, the consultation seeks to develop a framework for Vision 2060 to identify long-term challenges that Kenya must address to achieve sustainable development. Now, the government says Vision 2030 has achieved about 66% of its targets, falling short of its goal of transforming Kenya into an upper-middle-income country. The new vision is expected to focus on the rising poverty, youth challenges, and other development gaps as the government seeks to transform Kenya into a first-world country.
We need a conversation to help us ask ourselves, how do we instill integrity? Where do we need change among ourselves as individuals? How can we have world-class education? What can we do to make devolution work? And how can we have affordable health care services everywhere to support our citizens and present generation and those who are yet to come?
We have seen very good plans, very good things come up. Then at the tail end, when we are beginning then towards the tail end, you realize that now the process has now also changed and has been hijacked because we also don't have time. I know our president wants things to run quickly.
Nyinyi mutuambie kile munataka kutengeneza Kenya ikue. As a government, we are ready to facilitate that. We should also be able to ask ourselves, how should Kenya conduct this conversation?
Now, the Council of Churches of Africa, CCAK, has called on politicians to conduct peaceful campaigns ahead of the 2027 general election and avoid statements that promote tribalism. CCAK has condemned violence witnessed at some political rallies and urged security agencies to take action against individuals threatening the safety of leaders and members of the public. The council has also called on Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to ensure security at political gatherings and deal firmly with groups disrupting rallies. CCAK further urged the IEBC to investigate leaders linked to violence and take action against those accused of misusing public resources ahead of the 2027 elections.
Encouraging to see the police engage in barbaric acts by disrupting campaigns and involving themselves in partisan politics. We also note that the police under the current IG are unable to end goons menace in this country, and therefore we ask the IG to resign and pave way to a competent Kenyan to take over from him so that he can serve Kenyans.
We are asking the IEBC to not to clear such leaders promoting violence, tribalism, and hate speech to vie for any elective position, for such do not qualify according to Chapter 6 of our Constitution.
Now, elders in Kiriari, Embu North are calling for urgent action to end the health workers' strike in Embu County, which has now entered its 25th day yesterday. Now, the elders have criticized the county government for what they describe as ignoring the ongoing dispute while patients continue to suffer due to the disruption of health services. They say the strike has affected access to medical care, with some patients allegedly losing their lives after delays in receiving treatment. The elders have urged all parties to engage in talks and find quick solutions to restore health services and save lives.
Madaktari wetu wanazuilia wagonjwa wale wanakufa, na kwa hivyo sasa wamegoma sababu vile walioagana wapewe mishahara yao wanjapata pesa hadi hapa tulipo. Na kwa hivyo naomba serikali yetu tafadhali watu wa madaktari walipwe mshahara kulingana na vile walivyoagana. Hatujui hii nchi inatupeleka wapi. Tunataka walipe madaktari vile waliagana ili madaktari warudi katika kazi yao.
Gavana wetu tangu madaktari waende mgomo anja jitokeze angalau kusema neno moja ama mbili ili afanye maisha yetu kuwa nyororo. Ningemuomba tafadhali ajitokeze tujue pale anashughulikia hiyo maneno, alafu roho zetu situlie.
Kama mliongea kuna mkataba mlifanya na hao watu madaktari, so tafadhali hao daktari wapatie kile uliwaindia, utawapatia warudi kwa hospitali, watengeneze watu wetu waache kufa ovyo ovyo.
Naomba serikali yetu ukiongea kuhusu Kenya mzima, kumbuka kaunti yako ya Embu tuko na sinda ya madaktari.
Now, still on matters healthcare, hundreds of nurses in Nakuru County have downed their tools, citing unresolved issues that they say have dragged on for years. The nurses say their July salaries remain unpaid, adding to frustrations over a collective bargaining agreement signed in 2017 that has not been fully implemented. They have accused the county government of failing to honor the return to work formula agreed upon by both sides. The nurses have vowed not to resume duty until their grievances are addressed and their demands are met.
We have a CPA we signed back in 2017, which to date has never been implemented. That's why we've come out today to Kisema, no going to work without a CPA. No CPA? No. No CPA? No. We are not going to go back to the facility until our demands are met.
We are requesting our governor to ensure that our salaries are being paid promptly. Nurses power. Another thing that we are demanding is those staffs that were employed on the UHC staffs, we want them to be issued with their PNP letters. Nurses power.
Yesterday during the Kenya Health Summit, the president was very clear that all the monies that are owed by the counties have been remitted. And so we are wondering, where are the salaries of these healthcare workers? And so we are urging the governor to pay all the salaries to these healthcare workers so that they are able to work.
Now, young people seeking various political positions have strongly condemned the violence witnessed in Homa Bay County, warning that growing political intolerance could threaten the future of democracy in the country. The youth aspirants have called on political leaders and their supporters to embrace peace, tolerance and dialogue when resolving political differences, saying political competition should never result in loss of lives. They also reminded leaders of the principles associated with the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, including non-violence, reconciliation and the use of democratic platforms to resolve disputes. The leaders warned that continued use of youth in political violence could jeopardize the country's future and urged politicians across the political divide to take responsibility and help curb rising tensions ahead of the 2027 general election.
So mine is to completely condemn what happened in Homa Bay. We as Luos, there is no point that you are going to kill ourselves, and we have to realize who we are.
That if you are going to continue doing the same, please do that in the principle and in the conviction of what Raila Odinga taught us. Non-violence, concession, and, of course, having a platform for democracy to negotiate.
When we engage in political intolerance, democracy is about competition. And the moment we are eliminating competition and bringing in elimination through the violence, Homa Bay being the latest case that we have seen and young people being at the forefront of such incidences, then we are killing the very future. We are killing the state that we are going to inherit.
And these are drums of war. We cannot continue like this. We expect that leaders across board, not only what happened in Homa Bay, must be very responsible, or else they are going to make this country a banana republic.
So we've come out as young aspirants to call out the escalation of violence, because once you become so violent in that tough, there are other people who also have tough, and that escalation is expected to even become more going into this electoral cycle.
Well, it is exactly that 2 minutes past the top of the hour. We're taking a short breather, but we'll be back in just a bit.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
You've seen them on TV.
Nakushukuru Mungu wangu kwa kunifikisha hapa.
But do you know their stories? Come with me.
If people look at me,
yes,
even before they hear me, will they see Jesus?
Wezi ambia watu mimi am a worshiper, na wakati you are worshiping people can't encounter God.
Ukisoma hiyo inabidi sana katika ile maisha yako, hata kama kwamba hauimbi.
Join me, Teddy Psalmist Mwana wa Ingolo Mosio, every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. only on EBN TV.
Sports isn't just a game. It's passion.
He's done it. Jakob Mensik is the champion in Miami.
Drama. Man, oh come on now. In the thrill of the unexpected. From the stadiums to the streets, we bring the game to you.
We bring you exclusive insights from the pros, bold predictions, and in-depth analysis like never seen before.
Get ready for the action, the controversy,
and this is bubbled over. Montez shown red,
and the moments that define greatness. The Scoreboard, where every game is the biggest game.
My name is Mary Mombua and I watch EBN TV.
For gospel music, I, Anton Dacho, I watch EBN TV.
I watch EBN TV. Do you?
I watch EBN TV.
For educative talk shows, I, Griffin Mukilia, watch EBN TV.
Hey everybody, my name is Purity Mudeu and I'm just here to tell you about EBN TV. Are you somebody looking for a Christian station that can transform your world? Look no further. EBN TV, transforming your world.
Je, unataka biashara yako ifikie maelfu ya wateja? Tangaza biashara yako kupitia runinga ya EBN na uipe biashara yako nafasi ya kuonekana na kusikika zaidi. Iwe unauza bidhaa, unatoa huduma au unataka kuongeza wateja, sisi tupo tayari kukusaidia kufikisha ujumbe wako kwa hadhara mpana. Ikiwa una ari ya kutangaza nasi, tuma ombi lako kupitia simu au WhatsApp namba 0740653453 au barua pepe ebntv2020@gmail.com. EBN TV, tunatangaza biashara yako, tunakuza mafanikio yako.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Alright, welcome back to the program. You're watching The Drift. Now let's take a look on what's making headlines on the dailies today. I'm having the Daily Nation newspaper this morning, and as well as the Standard newspaper dated the 21st day of August 2026. Perhaps let's take a look on what's making headlines on the Daily Nation this morning. And of course, a man headlining the front page of the Daily Nation is the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja. Of course, the Daily Nation says, "Marked Man." That's the title on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. Says police chief faces mounting pressure to quit over rising crime and gun culture. All right. They say, under siege, opposition leaders, activists, and clerics pile pressure on Police Chief Douglas Kanja to quit over gun attacks. And dossier intelligence report reveals that at least 500 guns were deployed to cause violence in Homa Bay last Sunday. Of course, power struggle, conflict between Kanja and Police Commission reportedly threatens national security. And crackdown, police boss orders interdiction of all officers on duty at a station if a suspect dies in custody. Right? That's what's headlining the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. And of course, that story actually featured on page 4, 6, 7, and 8 of the Daily Nation. Perhaps let's take a look at that. And let's hear what the opposing side actually saying. All right. Now, two events within 1 week have signaled that the tenure of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja could be in jeopardy due to growing public disillusionment over attacks by rogue police officers and thugs following unrelenting criticism from opposition leaders who accuse the police of waging a campaign to state terror. Civil society activists increased the pressure on Tuesday by staging public protest outside the National Police Service headquarters at Jogo House in Nairobi. Of course, we actually, saw some of the activists were actually arrested and taken to Central Police Station due to the protests that were there outside IG Kanja's offices. Right now, the activists threw a mock coffin over the gates of Mr. Kanja's office and demanded his immediate resignation, citing unresolved police killings, abductions, and enforced disappearances, as well as police inaction regarding violence perpetrated by thugs at political meetings organized by the government critics. Right, and one then asks the question: then, when the government critics, especially on social media, they're actually quick to abduct them or arrest them for that matter. But then again, when it comes to issues of hooliganism in political rallies, becomes a hard nut to crack. One then asks the question then, where is the disconnect? Where is the weak link? Right? That's on page 4 of the Daily Nation. Activists demanding that IG Kanja resign. All right, page 5 speaks about agencies rallying to defend Ruto's record, and the countdown to the 2027 general election appears to have entered a new phase, with President William Ruto's administration directing senior officials to intensify public communication on government policies, programs, and achievements. Circular from Head of Public Service Felix Koskei to Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, the government spokesperson, and the heads of state agencies directs them to engage the public Now, the August 7, 2026 circular says the government has largely been reactive in its communication, sometimes issuing conflict narratives, a situation Mr. Kosgei says has contributed to the erosion of public trust. Now, while the circular does not mention elections or campaigning, its timing and emphasis on communication, other communicating government achievements are likely to give it a political dimension. Now, the government has spent much of last 4 years defending itself against criticism over the high cost of living, high taxes, public debt, healthcare, housing, education, and as well as unemployment. The opposition has sought to make the government economic record a central issue in its drive to dislodge President Ruto in 2027. Of course, we've seen actually just the other day, this particular week, the head of state, President William Ruto, had actually a 2-day summit at KICC on matters healthcare to say where they are at as far as healthcare in this country is actually concerned. They spoke about SHA, right? And of course, they said, the measures they've taken so far as far as SHA is concerned, and healthcare largely is concerned. That's on page 5 of the Daily Nation. Just the other day, the head of state actually called on Catholic bishops at State House, to have talks on the future of our country. All right. Now, moving on to other matters making headlines on page 6 of the Standard. Nyoro's break with Ruto redraws to 2027 opposition map. Now, Kiaru Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has moved to put himself at the center of the campaign to unseat President William Ruto in 2027, declaring the head of state as quote-unquote Kenya's #1 enemy, and promising to crisscross the country to build a united opposition capable of defeating him. I beg your pardon. Now, in the first major political address since joining the People's Party of Kenya, Mr. Nyoro openly positioned himself with the emerging one-term voices, right? That's on page 6 of the Daily Nation newspaper this particular morning. Now, allow me to take a short breather here on the drift. We'll come back, continue taking a look on the nitty-gritties in the Daily Nation as well as on in the Standard newspaper this particular morning. Don't go too far. Someone has to die. It's quite unfortunate, even to see where we are heading as a country. Can we speak about Vision 2060? Well, while we are facing these challenges right now, can you speak about making Kenya a first world country? Can you speak about being Singapore? While the very issues that are actually affecting the Mwananchi are actually not addressed. People actually dying each and every day because of various reasons, healthcare, hooliganism. People are actually marked, but yet again, we should actually speak about what we're facing right now as a country before we start talking about how our future looks like. That is in regards to the Vision 2060. The head of state is actually touting time and again. Of course, it's actually quite also a good conversation to have to have around. But let's deal with the issues that are actually affecting Kenyans right now. Speak about cost of living, education, healthcare, you name it. All right. That's on page 7 in regards to the officer who actually died in Homa Bay County during the Linda Mwananchi rally that was there on Sunday. All right. Exclusively on page 7 of the Daily Nation. All right. Still on page 7, report names 500 youths in Homa Bay rally kills probe. And of course, an intelligence report indicates that at least 500 youths were mobilized to barricade roads to prevent members of Linda Mwananchi from accessing Homa Bay town last Sunday. The report is based on intelligence gathered by police, recovered about 500 machetes and other crude weapons allegedly disrupted to youths who took part in the violence. Now, and according to the DCI, County Commander Jimmy Kisibo, police are investigating events before, during, and after the rally. And of course, when you look at this turn of events in political rallies, one would say not even the police are actually safe, because we've seen scores of police being injured in these rallies. We've seen the police dying. So no one is on the safer side here. So when we talk about Vision 2060, making Kenya fastward, let's first deal with this menace which is actually one would say is actually reimagining itself in our country, right? Now, police say they actually recovered 500 machetes, and one would ask, why carry a machete in a political rally if at all, these people are actually not sent by someone who has, his own political agenda? Why kill someone because of, shillings, billions, millions? It's quite imperative and unfortunate even to see, how inhuman people have actually been, right? Of course, that we hope that, overheard someone say that police may not catch the perpetrators of one who splits a blood of someone, but only God can help us, right? Indeed, that's on page 7 of the Daily Nation this particular morning. Now, page 3 speaks about Kenyamon's Jose Alberto Suarez, the man behind the stories that filled our evenings, right? That's a story on page 3, and of course, may his soul rest in peace, right? Page 2 speaks about final moments of chopper that crashed, killing 7. Of course, from the Mount Ololokwe summits, the vast Samburu landscape stretches into the horizon in its rugged plains and distant hills, offering the kind of scenery that draws tourists for sunrise and sunset splendor. Now, on Wednesday morning, 6 tourists climbed into a helicopter to experience that view. They were filming and taking photos when their holiday turned into a tragedy. Now, the helicopter had barely completed its third sweep over the summit when the tourists began capturing what would become their final images of the spectacular moment. And of course, it's quite unfortunate. Of course, they've actually said that investigations in regards to that have actually commenced. And of course, the taking a look on what might have transpired and caused the plane to actually crash. All right. Now let's take a look on the Standard newspaper this morning. All right. They say you are on your own. And of course, there are pictures there of the DCI boss, Mohammed Amin, as you can see on the sidelines of your screens. And you can also see, the images of the National Assembly Speaker, that is Moses Wetangula, and as well as the chairperson of the National Cohesion, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, that is the NCIC, chairperson, that is Bishop Dr. Kefa Omai, headlining the front page of the Standard newspaper this morning. Of course, the Standard newspaper this morning says, on your own, the institutions and people charged with protecting Kenyans have left them to their own devices. The National Police Service, DCI, ODPP, IPOA, NCIC, and Parliament have watched political violence spread from rallies to by-elections and even churches, with deaths, injuries, and destruction piling up, while accountability remains elusive. Now, even the church seems unable to handle the situation. Kenyans are in calling for politicians to behave and for the Inspector General of Police to quit. But that seems about it. That's on page 2 and 3 of the Standard newspaper this morning. Right? And when you look at, activist people protesting, calling for accountability for people dying. We actually saw in Ol Kalou scores of people injured, left with permanent injuries. People died. And from what we see from our leaders and the security agencies, there seem to be little to be done or other little talks about that. Politicians or leaders actually on, their campaign period, they seem not to see the happenings happening in the country. People dying nowadays has been statistics. We hear about Homa Bay. This number of people actually died. All Kalau, this number of people actually died. Emerald Dekir, Kasipul, Berry North, and it's quite unfortunate because we're actually heading to the electioneering period next August of 2027, and one would then wonder how that will look like, if at all, the by-elections that are actually, held in small constituencies right here in the country, actually marred by violence, vandalism, and deaths. And one would try to imagine how 2027 general election now would look like, if at all Emuru Dekir looked like how it looked, Kasipul looked on how it looked, All Kalau, Berry North, Kasipul, right? It's quite worrying to just imagine how that would look like, having in mind the issue of hooliganism going on in the country, and of course the leadership, the top leadership, seems to be turning a deaf ear to that. So it's quite unfortunate, and again, only God can help us. So let's pray for our country, even as we get up for the electionary period. Of course, last month, Kofi Annan Foundations actually named Kenya number 2 as one of the countries seemingly or might have post-election chaos in 2027, right? So it's quite unfortunate, and let's see how that plays out in 2027, right? That's the story on page 2 of the Standard Newspaper this particular morning. Page 3 speaks about political violence may land top leaders at ICC once expert. And of course, some leaders could be dragged to the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC, if the ongoing political violence issues legal experts have now won, right? Again, allow me to take another short breather. I'll be back in just a bit. Don't go too far. Right, I'm having a flu for the last, I'm done with the flu for the last 2 days. Because don't worry, if I keep blowing my nose and clearing my throat, all is well. We are under medication, right? Now, on page 3, we're taking a look on the political violence that may land top leaders at the ICC. One experts have warned. We are taking a look on the Standard Newspaper this morning. Of course, some leaders could be dragged to the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC, if the ongoing political violence continues. Legal experts now warn, although the High Court in May ruled that the country was not yet a failed state, some legal minds say that failure to take action on guns and ethnic balkanization could be invoked by or at the Hague Court. Right now, they argue that petitioners could target the big fish who either turn a blind eye that when atrocities happen to facilitate violence. And in a case filed by 2 human rights groups, Justice Lawrence Wogambi in May said there was insufficient evidence to demonstrate that Kenya's national systems had failed in addressing abductions and deaths behind bars. However, senior lawyer Paul Muites yesterday said that the political goodwill to deal with the vices is lacking. He laid the blame of top security organ, National Security Council, in which the president, his deputy, and defense and interior cabinet secretaries and heads of security agencies sit. Right, that's on page 3 in regards to petitions which experts and activists are actually petitioning to take the incumbent government to the Hague or the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC. All right. Page 4 speaks about Gachagua wars Kalonzo into Mount Kenya, Giama tribal affiliation. Now, the Democracy for Citizens Party leader, Rigathi Gachagua, on Tuesday unveiled high-level negotiations to advance partnership between the party and wipe a patriotic front to boost the central region's voice within the united opposition ranks. Addressing high levels delegations of the two parties at the end of the day-long meeting at his Munyoro residence in Nyeri County, Gachagua dropped hints of intent by the two parties to craft a working relationship that enables them to approach their participation in the united opposition business as one seamless formation that than as two formations representing competing interest in the negotiation boardrooms. All right, and the story goes on and on page 4 of the standard on the chessboard of the opposition, how they are actually playing out the chessboard. All right, Mwangaza appears that prepares the way for Linda Mwananchi in Meru. That's on page 4, where former Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, who is also Umoja la Maendeleo Party UMP leader, has called for a peaceful Linda Mwananchi Meru tour. The Senator Edwin Sifuna-led opposition outfit has grown in popularity, attracting huge crowds in tours across the country so far. Ms. Mwangaza expects a successful tour of Meru on August 30th. Right, that's on page 4. Matters politics. Ruto removes to mend fences with the church a year to election. That's as well on page 4 of the Standard newspaper this morning. ODM power sharing demands unsettle Kenya Kwanza allies. Tensions are flared within the broad-based government. After the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM declares the 2027 deputy president running mate slot and a 50-50 power sharing deal as irreducible minimums for backing President William Ruto's re-election and settling Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties at Mount Kenya leaders. All right, and of course, this what we've actually been seeing in the ODM Linda Grant faction, saying that they won't settle less in for a deputy president position. And one then asks the question: then what happens to Professor Kithure Kindiki if at all the head of state actually decides to consider ODM's demands? If at all, ODM will actually, drum support for the re-election of President William Ruto in the next coming election. All right. So they are actually saying that they won't settle less for a DP position. They say that is quote unquote irreducible minimum. All right. That's on page 5 of the Standard newspaper as far as politics is actually concerned. Kenyan sleuths close in a cause of Ecuador spy chief chopper crash. That's on page 6. Police ordered to conclude probe on missing man. Ruto state did not pay 104 billion for SHA system. That's on Matters Healthcare on page 7 of the Standard newspaper. All right. Allow me to wrap it up. They are here on Morning Live. We've been watching Morning Live. Up to speed with whatever that it is you're waking up to this morning as far as news making headlines and of course leadership and governance of this country is actually concerned. All right, and of course just to remind you that the International Faith Summit 2026 has actually entered its 5th day and final day of the summit. Remember, this summit actually is actually done each and every year on August. All right. Just to grow faith on God's people, right? Now this year's International Faith Summit features men and women of God, right, who have been headlining the summit since Monday, because it's actually commenced on Monday 17th and is actually set to conclude today, being the 21st day of August. It is being held at Buruburu Girls, so just make your way there and get spiritual nourishment from men and women of God. They actually giving free food, right? Free food, free breakfast. So just to make your way there. And of course, EBN Television will be bringing you wall-to-wall coverage in whatever that is happening at Buruburu Girls on the International Faith Summit, right? So keep it EBN Television just in case you can't make your way there. we'll be doing a wall-to-wall coverage in regards to that. Also, keep it EBN television, even as we continue bringing you up to speed in whatever that it is actually making headlines from across our 47 counties and as well as in from across our borders. All right. My name is Macharia. Thank you so much for keeping me company until this particular minute. God bless. Do have yourself a blessed and productive day ahead. And as always, let's do this again when God says we do.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
You've seen them on TV.
Nakushukuru Mungu wangu kwa kunifikisha hapa.
But do you know their stories? Come with me.
If people look at me,
yes,
even before they hear me, will they see Jesus?
Wezi ambia watu mimi am a worshiper, na wakati you are worshiping people can't encounter God.
Ukisoma hiyo inabidi sana katika ile maisha yako hata kama kwamba hauimbi.
Join me, Teddy Psalmist Mwana wa Ingolo Mosio, every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. only on EBN TV.
Sports isn't just a game. It's passion.
He's done it. Mensik is the champion in Miami.
Drama.
Man, oh, come on now.
In the thrill of the unexpected. From the stadiums to the streets, we bring the game to you. We bring you exclusive insights from the pros, bold predictions, and in-depth analysis like never seen before.
Get ready for the action, the controversy,
and this is bubbled over. Montez shown red,
and the moments that define greatness. The scoreboard, where every game is the biggest game.
From the book of Acts chapter 3 verse 19. Repent therefore and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out, so that times of refreshing may come from the presence of the Lord.